messed up, but I feel like I don't know what to expect of the answer arcs, so I'm being careful with my choice of words. Okay, let's go. Himatsubushi, for you, the final mystery. Time-killing chapter. I now entrust you with all the mysteries hidden within Higurashi when they cry. However comical it may be, if you have reached any conjecture, then you have passed. This final novel is a meager reward for you. Conjecture is impossible. You have the right to reject this story. Wait, what does that mean? Time-killing chapter. Conjecture is impossible. You have the right to reject this story. Interesting wording. I never know what to make of these. Alright. Hee 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 hee. Huh. I did not expect that. This arc includes choices that were added in the console version. These choices result in dialogue changes and can lead to bad ends. Do you want to see these choices? I don't know. Do we? Do we? Okay, for the Higurashi enjoyers that have already played this, is this recommended? Should I be doing this? Or should I just play this like I have played the other ones? I'm kind of curious, but also I'm not sure. I guess, I don't know, I'm kind of leaning towards the original experience, which would be without the choices. But I'm kind of curious. Curious to see too. Oh, hello, River, welcome in, how are you? Let me also shout you out. Hope you're doing good. If you don't like it, can always reload. I mean, it depends on when the choices appear and how many we get. I was also considering we could just watch the choices on YouTube after we finish and just have the original experience, I guess. Oh, this is a really tough choice. This is already the first choice and I don't like it. I guess we can try. Only content from PC version. Console version. Prompt choices and highlight correct answers. Oh, more choices. Choices over choices. You know what? We're gonna go with prompt choices and highlight correct answers. We're gonna do one playthrough of the correct answers. And we can always save when we have a choice. And we can go back after we finish this chapter and choose the other choice. How's that sound? And if I find out that it takes an insane amount of time to go through all of the choices, we could just watch a video. We could just watch a video instead. How about that? I feel like that's the best of both worlds. Possibly. Yeah. Hello, Zero. How are you? Welcome in. Just looking and enjoying. Thank you. Who's the criminal, you may ask? Don't we search for them in this story? Who's the criminal, you may ask? Don't you even know what the criminal did? Who's the criminal? Who is the criminal who will kill me now? Frederica Byrne Castle. And that text that I was never able to decipher. Except for when we finally learned that we can actually read it in the credits. I never paid attention to what it said underneath Byrne Castle's name, who I think is from Umineko, right? It's the character that ironically looks exactly like Rika, which is probably not just a funny coincidence. But yeah, hydrate. I haven't hydrated. I'm doing fine. How are you? I'm also doing good. Glad to hear. I had misread the time and ended up arriving too early. The schedule board flipped with a series of clacks. My flight to Sapporo was a bit later on. I still had over an hour before boarding. Well, I might as well close my eyes for a bit on that bench over there then. I came here directly from work, so maybe the fatigue from that was making me sleepy. Finding a suitable bench, I put my luggage on the seat next to me and settled down. Akasaka. Phew. I sighed like an old man. I had hoped to say young forever, but had become splendidly middle-aged. Ah. Apparently, the rumor that even people in the latter half of their 20s experience a decline in their physical strength wasn't a lie. Oh no, it certainly wasn't. I can confirm. I guess I'm not even in my latter half of my 20s, but still, yeah, I've reached that point already. It had been mind-numbingly busy at work lately, so I rarely had any time to myself. This might have been the first time I'd been able to enjoy a journey alone like this since I was a student. Facts. I'm sorry you guys relate to this too. The reason behind this trip was to meet an old friend. It was a bit strange to call him an old friend. In fact, it might be better to call him a bad one. After retiring a couple of years ago, he moved to Sapporo, his mother's hometown. Is this about Oishi? His mother passed away soon after, and he was now peacefully enjoying his second lease on life. His name was Kurado Oishi. Hashtag back problems. Yeah, we were talking about my back problems earlier. Welcome to the club. He was a former detective from the primary investigation unit at the station in Okinomiya XX Prefecture. To be honest, the only direct contact we ever had didn't last more than 3 days. That's not a friend. I wouldn't consider someone that I had direct contact with for 3 days a friend, but okay. After that, we exchanged New Year's cards, but he never met again. So this would be the first time meeting him in 7 years. That's a long time. In other words, we met 7 years ago. In 1978. There was something I just had to ask, to talk to him about concerning that time. To explain that, it was impossible not to recall the incident that happened back then. That kidnapping, the details and resolution of which were resigned to darkness. Kidnapping. Okay. Too much desk work does that. True. I mean, the fact that we live in the digital age certainly doesn't help. Even if I didn't have like a office desk job, I would still have messed up my back. Actually, I messed up my back by lifting heavy bottles of drinks in the wrong way. So I guess that's that. You have a back brace. Interesting. I didn't even consider that an option for me. I just, I think what did they say? I have a lumbar disc. That's a slipped disc. Yeah. Also, it was impossible not to recall a certain mysterious girl. My name is Mamoru Akasaka. It was a year that had been strangely hot even though it was only June. Okay. If Rika's in this timeline with the exact same age, I'm gonna flip. What? A slipped disc? I think that's what it's called, right? Yeah. Slipped disc in the lumbar spine. Herniated disc is also a different term for it. Yeah, it's interesting stuff. Not good. Goodbye, teacher. Okay, bye. Watch out for cars. And don't drop in at a friend's house along the way. Why?
明
Why
日の
not?
教科書の準備は必ず寝る前にしておくんですよ。
Make sure you get your textbooks in order for tomorrow before you go to bed. The lively sounds of children running towards the hallway.
でさ、つってんだぜ。
Hey now, didn't I tell you before?
そんなの俺持ってるわよ。
I already have one of those.
いらねえよ。
I don't need any more. The unique high-pitched voice of youth. The energetic shrill of the cicadas went completely unheard by their ears. Children returning home from school split off one by one from their groups of friends as they went through intersections in the residential area. This is, Okinomiya, right? Yeah. Even though there were several of them in a group as they left the school, as they got closer to their homes, their numbers dwindled. That's why the fewer friends you were walking home with acted as an indicator that you were that much closer to your destination.
じゃあな。
Later!
あばよ。
See y'all!
また明日ね。
Yeah, see you tomorrow. Oops. He finally parted ways with his last friend. Oh no. A van was parked at the bend in the road. The window was open, the sound of the radio leaking outside. It must have been the news of something.
たため、道路交通法違反、公務執行妨害で3名を逮捕しました。
For that reason, the three of them were arrested for traffic violations and obstruction of justice.
一連のひなみ沢ダム建設反対をめぐる運動は、
yes, of
先月
course.
の機動隊との流血事件を境に過激化の一途をたどっており、
Due to the protests against the Hinamizawa Dam project resulting in bloodshed when clashing with riot police last month, things have only become more violent.
警察では過激な活動家による次の事件を警戒しています。
The police are therefore taking precautions against radical activists causing yet another incident. This is during the dam project? Yeah, I completely forgot that this was, of course, during this time as well, so yep, makes
先週
sense.
も建設省庁舎前での犬飼建設大臣への直訴事件があったばかりで、
Last week, there was also a direct confrontation with Mr. Inukai on the steps of the Ministry of Construction. The boy's ears perked up at the mention of the name Inukai. At that moment, a man's face peeked out suddenly from the window of the van. His behavior was a little different than that of a man looking around to see if there was any incoming traffic before he opened the door of his vehicle. His eyes meeting suddenly with the unfamiliar man, the boy panicked slightly.
ウグイス OK。
Okay. Nightingale, okay.
ひばり OK。
Slylark, okay.
前後2ブロック確保した。
What are these code names? They've secured the 2 blocks around
いい
us.
ぞ。
We're good to go. The man in the passenger seat whispered quietly. Nodding in acknowledgement, the man opened the door. Hello, Sarah! Welcome in! Hello! Thank you for the raid. Hope you had a lovely stream. Let me just quickly finish this sentence. And stood before the boy. There we go. Hope you had a good stream. You were playing. Oh, Story of Seasons! Oh, I haven't played a single Story of Seasons game. Friends of Mineral Town. Oh, which one is that? Is that the newest one? Or is that one of the older ones? I love farming games. I know. I see you streaming them all the time. I hope you had a good time with it. Remake of an old one. Oh, I see. I haven't played a single Story of Seasons game, or I guess, what is Harvest Moon, I guess? But I wanted to for a really long time. There's actually this one content creator that I follow that does a lot of Story of Seasons playthroughs. And it looks really good. So I might give it a try. Hope you had a good stream. Thank you so much again for the raid. If you need to take a rest, feel free to, of course. We're just playing some more Higurashi today. We're now on chapter 4. But yeah, thank you.
君、 犬飼俊樹くん
Harvest Moon turned into the Sword Seasons. Yeah, they kind of split apart, didn't they? The franchise is very amazing and nostalgic for me. I haven't played a single one. I really should catch up. Because I love games like that. Yeah, I mean, we've been playing since I think September last year, so yeah, we've been at it for a while. Are you Toshiki Inukai-kun? Oh, okay, so we're related to the minister? While asking that, the man peered at the boy's name tag. Toshiki Inukai. The name was written plainly there. Are we gonna get kidnapped? The phone rang for a third time. If he reached out, he could easily pick up the receiver. However, he was concerned that if he picked it up before it had even finished ringing ringing once, whoever was on the other end of the line would think him a fairly cheap person. That's why he normally never picked up the phone until the third ring. Even he thought it was a worthless habit. I also do this, in fact. I never pick up on the first ring. I always let it ring a little bit, even though I know who's calling and such. I'm like, oh, I gotta not seem super desperate, like like I was waiting for someone to call me, or I just straight up just don't want to talk to them, and I just hope that they will hang up. Oh yeah, I hope they stop calling. Exactly. I'm just like, oh please, maybe if I wait for a really long time, they'll eventually just give up. Usually they do. However, his thinking that there isn't much meaning in waiting for just 3 rings, wouldn't waiting for 5 be alright, was very much a reality. His mind filled with such trifling thoughts, he picked up the phone after the third ring had finished, its reverb dampened by his action.
はい、
Dampened by his action.
も
Yes.
しもし、
Hello.
もしもし、
Hello? He knew that sometimes, due to a malfunction at the switchboard, calls didn't connect well. At those times, it was best to hang up and let the person on the other end call again. Thinking that, the moment he began to hang up the phone, he sensed that he was definitely connected after all. He felt the presence of a person on the other end of the line, keeping
も
silent.
しもし、
Hello? There was no way they didn't hear his question. What was the meaning of this? It wasn't like he didn't know that people could use silent calls to harass others. However, he'd never received a call like that until today. Maybe he was just lucky before, but he didn't believe that he would receive such a call on this phone. There were no direct calls to or from this line. Everything had to go through an operator. Therefore, there was absolutely no way the call would be connected unless it was verified there was somebody else on the other end of the line. Okay? That's why he didn't understand how to deal with this silent call and instead settled into confusion.
あんた、誰だか知らないが、用がないなら切るよ。
I would have just hung up the second they didn't reply to me. I'm like, well, fine by me. I don't know who you are, but if you have nothing to say, I'm going to hang up.
また、かけ直してください。
Please call again some other time. Intending that to be a parting line, he made to slam down the receiver. It was at that moment the person on the other end spoke for the first time.
あなたが名乗ってくれないから困ってんですよ。
Oh, they even have like a voice changer. You didn't say who you were, so I was anxious.
あんたが犬飼大臣じゃないなら、さっさと電話を切ってください。
If you're not Minister Inukai, please hang up right away. He couldn't help but be surprised by the extremely strange voice on the other end of the line. Did they kidnap the kid to stop the dam project? Probably? Is this the perspective of the manager of the dam project? I guess. I would assume that these are people from Hinamizawa that kidnapped this kid from the minister in order to, well, stop the dam project. Was there a human alive who could speak with his hoarse and metallic voice? No, this was a voice he had heard somewhere before. That was the kind of voice that was on those brow documentaries that they'd use when they wanted to hide the identity of a speaker, wasn't it? The voice he was hearing over the line was exactly like that.
あんた、誰？
Who are you?
だからそれはこっちが聞いてるんですよ。
As I said, that's what I want to ask.
あんた犬飼大臣じゃないの？
Are you Minister Inukai? He, Inukai, hesitated to answer. Unable to discern the intent of this suspicious phone call, he had a vague feeling that something was off. He thought about hanging up the phone and asking that operator who initiated the call. However, he forced himself to restrain that urge, and for the time being chose to state his name and listen.
そうです。
Oh god, I don't even want to imagine what it would be like to get something like this. Like, even if this was a prank or something like that, getting a call like this would freak you out. That's right.
犬飼です。
This is Inukai.
名乗りましたよ。だ
I
から、
said
あんたも名乗ってくださいよ。
I said my name, now you say yours.
私の名前なんてどうでもいいんです。
My name doesn't matter.
まずあなたがどういう立場に置かれているか、それを認識するところから始めましょう。
First of all, let's begin by thinking about the situation you're in right now.
あなたは今自分の席で電話をしていますね。
Right now, you're sitting in your chair talking on the phone, yes?
ではあなたの
Oh my
席の
god.
右側の一番下の引き出しを開けてみてください。
Then why don't you try opening the lower drawer to your right? They broke into his home too? The lowest drawer to the right of the minister's chair. There was a lock on it, not enough to function as a safe, but nevertheless, it was a drawer that contained some valuable things. That's why Inukai thought that the person wanted some of the important information contained within that drawer.
すまんが、開けるつもりはないよ。
Sorry, but I don't have any intention of opening that.
自分の名前も名乗れんやつの言いなりになる言われはない。
I have no reason to follow orders from somebody who won't even give me his name.
引き出しを開けてくれないならこの電話を切ります。
If you don't open that drawer, I'll hang up the phone. Oh no! But little does he know, his son is gone.
後悔することになりますよ。
You will most likely end up regretting that.
まずは引き出しを開けてから考えてもいいんじゃないですか。
Why don't you think about opening that drawer first? Inukai didn't like following orders from this suspicious person one bit. However, he was concerned about what the men said about regretting it, so he decided to open the drawer. I'm surprised he hasn't asked about this. What do you mean by that? He took the small key he kept stowed in his wallet and unlocked the drawer. His hand stopped right before he opened it. What if there was a bomb inside and it would explode if the drawer was opened? That delusion took a hold of him. He quelled that instinct and opened it.
開けてくれましたか？
Did you do it?
そこにあるものが何かわかりますよね。
The thing that's in there, do you know what it is?
これはどういうことだ？
This is... What is the meaning of this?
おい、
Hey!
どういうことか説明する必要なんかないですよね。
I don't think there's any need for me to explain, is there?
時間を差し上げますので少しお考えください。
I'll give you some time, so please think about it a little.
また後ほどこちらから連絡いたします。
I'll contact you again later.
それでは失礼。
Now then, pardon me.
おい、
Hey!
待て。
Wait!
もしもし、
Hello?
もしもし。
Hello? Oh no. The call had already ended. That would not change no matter how much he yelled at it. Even still, Inukai, without realizing that, continued yelling into the receiver for a while. The drawer was still open. On top of the folders crammed into the drawer, it lay there. Toshiki Inukai. Written in plain lettering on a grade schooler's name tag, just lying there. Well, they put his whole name tag in here. You could have put it in a easier to see place, but, you know, fair enough. Enshrined there, completely out of place, as if it were cowering. This is a work of fiction, guys. Don't forget that. Are we gonna get that banger opening? Oh, it's a different one. This is so beautiful. Holy. Welcome to Hinamizawa. Welcome to your death. It was Satoshi. Yo! It's Satoshi! And these people we don't know. Who are you? Oh. That was a bit of blood. Oh no. Wait, huh? What is going on? I feel like I got more confused by seeing all of that. What just happened? What did they just show me? Huh. Okay. All right. Interesting stuff in the opening. I feel like this soft comfy music is not fully representative of what we're about to experience. I don't know what you mean. This game has always been super beautiful and super comfy. What a beautiful village. Surely nothing bad ever happened there. No, everyone is super happy. Everyone lived happily ever after, don't you know? That's how all stories end. You get married. Yay! Finally! I don't even know who we're gonna play as because Satoshi appeared. People we don't know appeared. Keiichi appeared. But there was also a couple of scenes from earlier chapters, I feel. The pic with Shion and Satoshi was exactly the same as the one where Mion... Oh my god, you're right. Wait, I didn't even notice. You're right. That was exactly the same. Huh. Lots to think about. Oh, yes. And, you know, Twitch is so gracious as to give us time to think about it because there's an ad break. There's an ad break in a minute. So, I'm going to think about it some more. Because there were a lot of interesting scenes. And so many different characters. I mean, I'm guessing this plays over maybe 2 different timelines. Or maybe just the one. But they explicitly showed Satoshi. I feel like that means that we're gonna go to our usual time. The scene brings back memories of Tatari Goroshi and Tatako's story. Oh yeah. Don't think about it. Or we're gonna cry again. We're gonna be sad again. We're probably gonna be sad anyway. But yeah. Okay, let's take a quick little break. If you need to rest your eyes, stretch your legs, get a drink, or get a snack, feel free to do that. I will also... Oh, I said I would stand up, right? I will stand up now and do some stretching. See you in 3 minutes. Okay. I have made it back. I didn't even realize, but was that the first time we officially saw Satoshi? Of course, I knew how he looked like because I watched the anime. But for the people that are experiencing this for the first time, was that the first time you saw the boy? I feel like we didn't see him before. I don't remember. But I don't think so. But yeah, let's keep going. Actually, let me drink something. Do you remember, Yukie? This picture. This is where I first proposed to you. That brief moment before you nodded back. You probably wouldn't know just how much it seemed like an eternity to me. Yes, I would have never thought that amount of time could feel like an eternity. Compared to how long I had to wait for you to propose to me, it was... Ha ha ha. From the moment I met you until today, compared to the time I've spent since I was born, and it might only be a brief period, but there were definitely precious, beautiful days that deserve to be called an eternity. That time continues even now. From now on, I wonder if it'll be a boy, or maybe a girl? Either one is fine. Boy or girl, either way, it's living proof that we love each other. Aww! If it's a boy, we'll name it after you, Mamoru. If it's a girl, we'll put the Yuki from my name and hers. Thinking about names is so fun that in the end, we still haven't decided yet. I feel like that's the curse of many parents. There's still time to puzzle over it. Not that long of a time, actually. You see, Yukie, there's something I have to apologize for today. It's about your job. Sorry. It looks like an annoying bit of work has come up. In the worst case, I might not be able to be there for the delivery. It's fine. You have a very important job. Oh, this is a conversation. Oh god, it was a little difficult to decipher. Okay, so they're talking, kind of. What you do protects the way we live. Compared to you, it's nothing. Please, go ahead. When you return, I'll be waiting here with our child. Thank you. Also, I'm sorry. Please don't apologize. If you feel guilty about it, then you can just atone. If I atone that much, no matter how much money I have, it won't be enough. Hee hee. It's a joke. Now, go on. As I left the room, I bumped into an elderly man. It was Yukie's father. In other words, my father-in-law.
お父さん
Father,
邪魔する気はなかったからな
I didn't want to intrude,
廊下で待たせてもらったよ
so I waited in the hall. I hope they have a good relationship.
聞き耳を立てるつもりはなかったが
I
聞
didn't
こえてし
mean
まった
to eavesdrop, but I heard.
生きたまえ
Well, go.
幸恵はああいう娘だ
Yuki is that kind of girl.
何があっても自分が君の枷になることを望むまい
No matter what happens, she doesn't want to hold you back.
私はこれまで幸恵に様々な犠牲を強いてきました。
It's unfortunate that things like these happen, but you can't necessarily time it perfectly. I mean, ideally, you would have time off during this important time, but yeah, maybe it came out of the blue? I'm not sure. I've forced Yukie to give up on so many
出
things.
産という人生の節目にまで彼女に犠牲を強いることを恥じます。
To put her through this during childbirth, such an important time in her life, I'm ashamed.
君が本当にそう思うなら仕事が終わったら幸恵のために時間を割きなさい
If you really feel that way, when you're done with your work, make some time for Yukie.
君が仕事を投げ出して付き添ってくれるよりもそうした方がきっと幸恵も喜ぶだろう
You'll be happier with that than you passing your work off on someone else.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you.
君がとても大切な仕事をしていることは私もよく知っている
I know full well you do important work.
自分の仕事を誇りに思いなさい
Be proud in what you do. So this guy is in the same detective department that Oishi is a part of. They, I guess, work together. He said during, like, they worked together for 3 days. So I'm guessing those 3 days will be the investigation of the kidnapping that happened. And Rika has some kind of part to play with this. Because I can't imagine Rika not being a part of this, which would be strange because that would mean that she is the same age now as she was in the other arcs. Or maybe the kid is Rika? I don't know what role she plays in all of this.
幸恵は君が見事難題を解決して凱旋するのを楽しみにしている。
Yukie is looking forward to your triumphant return.
Hi.
Yes. I jumped into the taxi that was waiting outside. Compared to the time when I first got here, the numbers on the fare meter had grown considerably. It seemed the modest time Yuki and I had spent together wasn't so modest from an objective point of view.
待たせてすみません。
Sorry to keep you waiting.
やってください。
Go ahead.
いえいえ。
No worries.
では参りますよ。
Well then, off we go. The taxi jerked as it changed gears to accelerate, soon burying the hospital my wife was in behind a throng of buildings. If it was to end up as a really troublesome ordeal, I probably wouldn't be returning for quite some time. To call a rookie like me, and on top of that, one who's off duty, it seemed that the section chief was calling for all hands on deck. So I guess he was called in for like at least 3 days. The veteran upper brass gathering on an emergency basis happened occasionally. This was the first time, though, that I experienced everybody gathering together like this. Whatever was happening, there was no doubt it was going to be something novel. Right when my wife was about to give birth. If I wanted to spend the time to curse my misfortunes, I'd be here all day. Even the verdant ginkgo trees lining the street that always brightened my mood seemed to lack some of their usual luster. Oh, look at those nice big square buildings. Aren't they just beautiful? Eventually, the government office came into view. Briefly holding my breath, I let the feelings of tension course through my body once again. I had to remember the work that I was doing was important, necessary, and difficult. I composed myself and sharpened my wit. Ready. The taxi stopped in front of the building. That is architecture beautiful. Kasumi Gaseki Tokyo. Oh, we're in
市
Tokyo.
長、全員揃いました。
Chief, everyone's here.
赤坂くん、ブラインド下ろしてくれる？
Akasaka-kun, could you close the blinds? The blinds were usually closed when they needed to use the projector, or if the discussion was going to contain some particularly disturbing content. Oh god. The blinds closed with a satisfying sound, darkening the interior of the room. Immediately, the inside of the room was completely drained of the pleasant morning atmosphere, leaving behind only the cold illumination of the fluorescent lighting. After the supervisor ensured that everyone was present, he nodded to the section chief once again. With everybody on the edge of their seats, the chief stood up solemnly and began to give his report.
推定48時間前建設大臣の孫にあたる建設省幹部の子息が誘拐された模様です。
Ah, it's his grandson. Okay. Approximately 48 hours ago, the Minister of Construction's grandson, who is also the son of one of his staff leaders, is believed to have been kidnapped.
建設大臣は事態を穏便に済ませるため警察へ通報せず要求に応じるものと思われます。
I actually don't remember. I think they mentioned this in the Watanagashi chapter that there was a kid who went missing. Or not that there was a kid who was missing, but that there was a kidnapping. I think? I'm not entirely sure anymore. It is believed the minister, in an effort to resolve matters amicably, chose not to report the situation to the police and plans to cede to the demands imposed upon him. It seemed that approximately 48 hours earlier, the Minister of Construction's grandson... Wait, what? That's the same text. That's... Yeah, that's basically the same text. Yeah, yada yada yada. The reason why it was phrased that way was because the person in question didn't admit it had happened.
大臣宅の通話を監視した結果、都外からと思われる不審な電話が数件確認されました。
I mean, that's how they get you. If they get you to not report something, then they win. Because during this time, I would imagine it would have been possible to kind of trace the call back, to at least get an approximate location. But I guess if they were smart enough to conceal their voice, they would also use something like a payphone. But still, I feel like they could have made some advancements towards solving this case if the minister had reported this in the first place. Based on the results of surveillance conducted on the minister's residence, multiple suspicious phone calls from what is believed to be outside the city took place.
誘拐された子供は病気療養中となっているが、通院の形跡はなく、周辺での目撃例もなく。
The abducted child is said to be under treatment for some illness, but there's no trace of any hospital records or witnesses to such effect.
その他いくつかの理由から、事件発生は間違いないものと断定しました。
Due to that, and various other reasons, we believe without a doubt that a kidnapping has occurred. Here, they omitted the details that brought this incident to light. If you think about it a bit, that meant that before this incident happened, the minister's residence had been under surveillance already. I won't use the words spied upon. I mean, it makes sense. If the whole dam project situation has been, you know, slowly but surely been getting worse and worse, then yeah, you would put some surveillance on the guy running or being responsible for getting this whole thing started in the first place. Because there's a high chance he or his family will be attacked during all of this. Hello, Yugi! Welcome, welcome! How are you? You're not that late. We yapped for like a solid hour, so you only missed like the after party and a tiny bit of chapter number 4. Of course, there wouldn't have been court approval for this, and it would have been very hard to explain to ordinary citizens. However, it was quite an effective method to catch wind of incidents like this before they got worse. I'd like for you to understand that dealing with these cases before they become a problem is the job of the Public Safety Division.
なぜ警察に通報せず要求を鵜呑みに
Why is he just following their demands instead of reporting this to the police?
大臣たる者が警察を信用できないってんだから世も末だね
The fact that a minister can't even trust the police, what is the world coming to?
犯人グループは誘拐初期に自分たちが大臣の生活をかなり高度に監視していることを警告し、その証拠を示した様子です。
Oh, thanks for giving a little bit of context space. Yeah, we're currently viewing things from the detective Akasaka, I suppose. Who is now here in the police department after, you know, visiting his wife in the hospital because she's giving birth to a child. Yeah. Very much still in the beginning. That was basically the recap. It seems the group of perpetrators demonstrated that they have quite a high level of surveillance on the minister themselves when they conducted the kidnappings.
大臣が屈服し、警察への通報も思いとどまるほどの何かですね。
Enough to give the minister pause before calling the police.
警察へ通報してもすぐにわかるぞって
You'll find out right away if you call the cops, more or less.
大臣の近辺に内通者がいる可能性か。
So it's possible that there is a mole close to the minister. Several of the higher ranking members who seem to have experience with this kind of thing let out deep sighs.
犯人グループの目的が要求にあるのか事件そのものにあるのかは不明ですが、いずれにせよ国益を脅かす事態に発展する可能性が極めて高い。
The goals of the perpetrators, their demands, as well as this entire incident are as of yet unclear, but in any case, the possibility that this may grow to threaten national interest is extremely high. If their goal was to simply have their demands met for monetary gain, that would have been nice. However, if this was some politically motivated shakeup, things would get a lot more complicated. And considering this is the dam project all of this is basically about, it is very highly likely that this is 100% politically motivated.
被害者の協力がないということは、脅迫内容も要求も一切不明ということか。
Since we're not receiving any cooperation from the victim, that means that we're not privy to any of the details of the threats or demands.
本件は内通者の水準がかなり高いと思われるため、当室のみの極秘捜査とします。
Due to the fact we believe there may be a mole involved in this incident, this investigation is highly classified. Only the people in this room are to know of this.
また本件は本日より最優先事項となり、これまでの通常業務を一時凍結して対応します。
Furthermore, as this case is our utmost priority, we'll be placing a hold on everybody's normal duties.
よろしいですね。
Understood? After that, the supervisor continued on, tactfully explaining our course of action. If this incident were to become public, it was possible that the minister's political life would be over. I'll spare you the explanation of how the rest of the dominoes would fall, but in the end, support in the Diet would decline, followed by a no confidence vote and a snap election, and it might even expand communist influences. In other words, we wanted to handle this delicately. Yeah, that's a whole lot of things to consider. That being the case, why is a rookie police officer being let in on this? I'm guessing that they want all hands on deck, kind of? Because this is a pretty high-profile case, so I'm guessing they will need any kind of help that they can get.
川崎と佐伯は大臣宅子供宅の通話を24時間監視。
Kawasaki and Saiki monitor communications from the minister and the child's residences 24/7.
大臣の動向を探れ。
Find out what the minister is doing.
動きがあるたびに逐一報告せよ。
Report anything that happens.
残る各職員は担当団体ごとに本件との関連を調査。
The remaining members investigate whatever is related to the case as assigned to your units.
最近動きが不穏な特殊ラインは集中的にやれ。
Focus your line of investigation on the commies, reds, and confeds. This is kind of interesting. What are the rookie is bait? Bait for what though?
それから外国勢力も水を漏らすな。
Don't discount the possibility of foreign involvement either. I've experienced one or two unamicable situations before. This, however, was the first time I've seen things get so hectic. Several sophisticated conversations were progressing without the involvement of a rookie like me. I didn't intend to be timid, but I couldn't hide my confusion at this unfamiliar situation.
だが柿内に行ってくれ。
And cover that.
で、赤坂君は
As for Akasaka-kun, I snapped back to alertness upon hearing my name called.
はい。
This is very relatable. You know, at work you're like kind of spacing out and suddenly someone drops your name and you're like, yes, yes, I was listening this whole time. I know what you're talking about. They just said this was highly classified, so that's contradictory. I guess.
赤坂君は大臣に陳情してきた環境保護団体関連を調査してくれ。
You know, we'll let them cook their very strange plans for now. You investigate the environmental groups that have petitioned the minister.
中でも新聞でも騒ぎになってるひなみ沢ダム建設反対の団体をよく調査すること。
Why does he get like the hardest job in all of this? He's gonna investigate the group that made the papers for probably some pretty bad stuff. Among them, there's that group protesting the Hinamizawa Dam project that made the papers. Make sure you investigate them thoroughly.
住民団体の仕業とは到底思えないが、全ての可能性を潰していかなくてはならない。
I doubt this is the act of some citizen group, but we have to eliminate every possibility we can. It's not that unlikely.
わかりました。
Understood.
ひなみ沢ダム反対か。
So those opposed to the Hinamizawa Dam.
直接現地へ行った方がいいだろう。
It's probably best if you go to the location personally. Oh, yes. Well,
現地県警で情報を取れ。
get some information from the local authorities. I mean, we know he's not gonna die because he still seems to be alive 7 years later.
かなり過激な団体らしく、向こうの公安でもマークしてるらしいぞ。
You go investigate the common people who have livid hatreds toward the whole project. The most likely candidates. Strange. I mean, I guess they're not the most likely candidates, but they're definitely an important group to consider. No, never mind. They're a fairly radical organization, so the public safety division there should have them marked as well, so they know they're dangerous.
わかりました。
And they're sending a rookie? Understood.
現地へ出向します。
I'll head over there.
奥さん、出産控えてるんだって
Your wife, she's almost ready to give birth, isn't she? Yeah, she is.
こんなタイミングで申し訳ないけど、協力頼むよ。
I apologize for the timing of all of this, but I'm counting on your cooperation.
時間がかけられないから、人海戦術で総当たりで行くしかないんだ。
We can't take our time with this, so we have to just brute force it with our boots to the ground.
ええ、わかってます。
Yeah, I know.
家内も自分の都合が私の仕事に触ることを嫌いますから。
My wife hates to interfere with my work with her own circumstances anyways. What do you mean, her own circumstances? You're getting a child! This was bound to happen. What do you mean? This is crazy. It's not like she's interfering. This is just what was bound to happen, you know? They did my boy Akasaka dirty. Yes, Yes, Akasaka, your first job is to head to Raccoon City? Beautiful.
すまん、ありがとう。
Sorry, and thanks.
それから、川崎くん、佐伯くん、君たちの応援には、
So then, as for Kawasaki-kun and Saiki-kun, to help support your blah 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 blah. I didn't want to take a business trip when my wife was about to give birth. Even if I was a little busy, as long as I was in Tokyo, I could head to the hospital right away. Well, we're going to the boonies. On assignment, though, that would be difficult. Even so, I knew the work I was doing was important and fully understood that I was in no position to be so selfish. I'd have to make it up to my wife for having to be away at such an important time. My wife, Yukie, would probably forgive me with a smile. I hope so. The only thing she could hate doing would be holding me back. She's not holding you back! Good old Hinamizawa. Oh yeah, going back to the good old hometown. My male ego, though, at least wished she would have tried to stop me. Sorry, Yukie. I don't mind if you always complain to our child that their father couldn't come to the hospital when they were born because they were too busy with work. The next day, I took the bullet train to Nagoya, and from there transferred to the train to XX Prefecture. I have read Obari no Seraph too many times. Every time Nagoya is mentioned, I'm like, oh, Obari no Seraph? Getting to my destination by land took several hours. If I was traveling by air in that amount of time, I could probably get as far as Hong Kong. XX Prefecture was by no means close. I never sat in first class except for work, but whenever I did, the seats seemed stiff. Closing my eyes, I mentally reviewed the documents I read yesterday. The group under investigation, the Onigafuchi Guardians. Oh my god. That is the most intimidating freaking name for this specific scenario for some reason. He's forgetting that people high enough on the food chain don't mind sacrificing some policemen if it means their agendas are being pushed successfully. Yep. They don't care about you, unfortunately. They were a group of residents opposed to the development proposed under the Hinamizawa Dam project. The local protests were quite heated and were getting more radicalized. Even limited to what was written in the newspapers, there was bloodshed that occurred during a clash with riot police, interference with the dam construction, too many to count. The number of petitions, sit-ins, and direct appeals to the relevant organizations were innumerable. As an extension of that, there was a direct appeal to the Minister of Construction the other day.
これがそもそも今回この団体を調査することになったゆえんだ。
I can't believe that there's actual bloodshed to have been reported coming from this group, and they're like, yeah, let's just send the rookie. The least qualified person for this. Perfect. This was the reason why we were investigating this group in the first place. The land that they lived on was going to be submerged, so it was no wonder they would go into a frenzy over it. Even given that, though, could they really be capable of doing something like kidnapping the Minister of Construction's grandson in order to halt the project? Yes, they could. For my take on it, I had serious doubts. This kidnapping plot was extremely sophisticated and complicated enough that it was believed there was some political backing. This wasn't something that could be pulled off by some group of local protesters. They're highly underestimating the people of Hinamizawa. He's being sent out as a sort of canary in the coal mine. You think? That's just what he's there for. Just like the chief said, the plan was to eliminate all possibilities. While I'm in the XX Police's reference room taking my time investigating, the higher-ups in Tokyo would probably solve the case, without my involvement entirely. Even if that was true, I couldn't regret being away from Tokyo while my wife was ready to give birth. This was work. There was really nothing I could do. Ding dong! The announcement that we would be arriving at our destination soon snapped me back to wakefulness. Gogura XX Prefecture, Public Safety Division. Oh!
鬼ヶ淵死守同盟
Isn't this the background that we always get for you know, the Oishi police scenes? The Onigafuchi Guardians.
ええ、地元ではかなり賑わせているようです。
Yeah, they've been quite active around here. The prefectural public safety department had already had the documents and a cup of tea ready and waiting for me.
早い話がダム反対の住民運動なんですが。
Hello, Kuro. Welcome in. How are you? He's being sent to the heart of the conflict and he thinks they'll resolve it over in Tokyo. Well, 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 little does this guy know. The short of it is, they're a group of residents opposed to the dam.
事実上、水没地域の住民すべてが決起したと言っていいでしょうね。
Really, it's probably better to say that every resident living on the land that's going to be submerged is rising to action, though.
死守なんて古風な言い方が示す通り、相当の決意と覚悟を持った連中です。
Like the old saying, fight to the last, they're determined and well-prepared lot.
そこら辺の温和な住民団体とは一線を画すと思っていただいた方がいいですね。
It'd be nice if they drew the line at just being a moderate residential organization. The stack of papers they had prepared for me in the document room was by no means thin.
発足当初はごくごく平均的な住民運動だったんです。
How are they underestimating these people with this stack of documents? documenting everything that they have done so far. Eepy, but not bad and kinda scared. What are you scared of? There's nothing to be scared of. At first, they were pretty much your average citizens initiative,
それ
but
がいつだかの流血事件を境に急にヒートアップしまして。
ever since that incident with the riot police, they've really started to heat up.
今では暴力主義団体か、それに準じるくらいの過激な勢力に成長したと言えますね。
Now, they've got a violent mentality on top of growing increasingly radical. Violent organizations usually indicate ones that enforce their own ideology without regards to the democratic process. Breaking that down, many of those organizations held extreme left revolutionary ideologies. Considering that, I couldn't help but be surprised that a citizens group would end up going this far. Radical citizens movements happen occasionally. It seemed, however, that this group was nothing as trifling as that. It seemed that I would have to reconsider exactly what this Onigafuchi Guardians was. I didn't expect this chapter to be so political, but I'm kinda into it. In the hospital alone at 3 a.m., there's some creepy noise. Oh no! It's fine. Just, listen to these creepy noises instead.
鬼ヶ淵死守同盟が要求。つまりダム計画の撤回を求めるために行いうる活動範囲はどの程度でしょうか。
Higurashi is definitely very political. Yeah, I have noticed that every time. Of course, when it's about the dam project, it is very political. It has some political flavoring tossed in here and there. But yeah, this is quite a lot, and I kind of like it. Eat the rage. Let's go! Do you hear footsteps behind your back by any chance? No! No. An extra step of footsteps. If you like that, I think you'll enjoy where the story goes. Ooh, okay. The Guardians demand, in other words, with the withdrawal of the dam project, how far would they have to go to... What the fuck am I doing? I can't even read. The Guardians demand, in other words, the withdrawal of the dam project. How far would they go to have that demand met? The kidnapping of the minister's grandson was classified. That meant, of course, I couldn't tell the XX prefectural department about it either.
ご存知の通り、先週あった犬飼建設大臣への直訴事件では逮捕者も出ています。
As you know, there were arrests after last week's confrontation with Minister
危
Inukai.
険性は十分にありますね。
There's enough reason to believe they could use illegal means to assert their demands. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I skimmed over the list of the criminal records related to the Onigafuchi Guardians recorded in the documents. I feel like they really just sent him in because they were like, I guess, let him deal with the danger. Because this is very clearly a dangerous and to be taken seriously organization. They're just like, well, whatever. I skimmed over the list of the criminal records related to the Onigafuchi Guardians recorded in the documents. What if it's Oyashiro-sama? Or it's Yaya stalking me? What can you do? You can't really run away from Oyashiro-sama, so I guess just sacrifice someone else? Maybe that will quell his anger and leave you alone. Being part of the police force in Hinamizawa in that time sounds like hell. Yup. The whole town suddenly turns and the local people who were seen as holding up the peace get antagonized. It is insane. I wouldn't want to have to deal with this. The danger that they have to put themselves in to keep everything relatively at peace. Oh, it must be hell. It's over. Just sacrifice, I don't know. Not one of the patients, I guess. Get someone else to take your place. The contents were all violent, not giving me the barest hint of a feeling that these people were trying to uphold the law.
具体的に教えていただけますか。
Could you give me a basic rundown of these types of illegal activities the Onigafuchi Guardians are engaging in? The chief opened up a manila envelope, fished out several unorganized sheets, and spread them out on the desk.
建設現場への襲撃事件が最も多かったですね。
I guess not. I was gonna ask if the killing of that one guy who was responsible. Not. Oh. Wait, who died in the first year? Was it the minister? Or was it one of the Inukai family? They never said a name. They just said that it was someone who worked here, one of the superiors, I guess, of the people leading the dam project. Does that mean it's Inukai? So it hasn't happened yet, obviously. Thinking about it, Hinamizawa is really like one of those isolated villages we hear of in with their own culture. I forgot what those are called. I have no idea. I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what they're called. It seems that raids on the construction site are the most
初期の
common.
頃、電源コードの切断や錠前の鍵穴に石を詰める、投石による事務所の窓ガラス割り等の軽犯罪が頻発していました。
At first, they were committing relatively petty crimes like cutting power cords, jamming locks, and breaking office windows by throwing rocks. Of course, what really happened first were things like demonstrations, sit-ins, and distributions of pamphlets, lively but democratic forms of protests. However, then the demonstrators and police clashed, which started a riot leading to numerous injuries and arrests. It was from then on that the Onigafuchi Guardians, like their name implies, began to take a more demonic form of resistance. Funny that you would, say it like that. I mean, I guess it's in the name, the Oni. One of the superiors got caught up into, several pieces by a party of 5, if I can remember correctly. That was in chapter 1. Okay, but they didn't say who it was specifically, right? It just said one of the superiors. I don't think it ever mentioned what exact position the person who got caught up into pieces was exactly.
襲撃が度重なれば、地元警察による警備強化がなされるのでは?
If the raids were frequent, didn't the local police up their patrols?
それは警戒はしたでしょうね。
Well, of course they were on full alert, but
でもあちらは地元ですから。
they were up against locals, you know.
闇に乗じて忍び込まれたらお手上げでしょう。
There wasn't much the police could do if they were sneaking around under the cover of darkness. You might as well label the entire map of Hinamizawa village around the dam construction site enemy territory. No matter how alert the police were, the locals would just show them exactly how easy it was to sneak around. How? Oh, I still can't believe they said one singular guy here. I mean, he's technically working together with this safety division thingy, but that's not enough. I feel like this guy needs some support, man. Can't just send him alone. I mean, we know for a fact that Oishi is gonna appear, right? Which is probably gonna help him out, but still. Boyo needs some help. They were at the work site. I don't know when that happened, but it could be an event we're gonna experience again. Or like, we're gonna experience it firsthand this time around. Or like, not firsthand. It's not like we're gonna be the person that's gonna be cut up, I don't think. Maybe discover the person who admitted the crime. Ooh, yeah, and the circumstances of why they admitted to it. I mean, 4 of the 5 people admitted to it, and the other guy ran away. He was never to be seen again. Also, new in town, like an unfamiliar territory, if he goes through a dark alleyway, he'll disappear in an instant. They're just gonna snatch him away.
警察が警備を固めてからは、むしろ挑発されたように過激化が進みました。
Actually, it was after the police upped security that the protesters started getting ever more extreme, as though they were being provoked.
ほら、この辺りから だいぶヒートアップしてるのがお分かりになります？
See here? Can you tell how things started to heat up?
事務所の放火、
An office set on fire.
建設重機の破壊工作。
The destruction of heavy construction equipment.
破壊？
Destruction?
まさか爆弾でも？
They couldn't have used explosives.
いや、まさか。
No way.
連中ですね。タンクに角砂糖を放り込むんですよ。
You see, they cramped the gas tanks full of sugar cubes.
あれやられたらエンジン焦げついちゃいますから。
If they do that, it fouls the engines. Even in Japan, it seemed there have been people doing that to the vehicles of occupying forces right after the war. Compared to misdemeanors like breaking windows, it was extremely violent and aggressive.
そこまでやられたら、地元警察の面目は丸つぶれですね。
Given all this, he'll probably work very closely together with Oishi. I mean, yeah, he said that he worked relatively close to him for 3 days. First job is to head to Gotham City. Gotta fight the evil. How did they think they can just make some missing every year? What? Sounds spooky and supernatural at that time, but kind of sounds like dumb now that I think about it. I'm not quite sure I'm following. After being toyed around with that to that extent, the local police have completely lost face.
放火はさすがにですね。
The arson was a bit much.
それで地元警察が24時間体制の人員を大幅に増員しまして。
After that, the local police drastically increased the number of personnel they had stationed there around the clock.
それで建設現場への襲撃は一段落したようです。
The raids on the construction site quieted down a bit after that. He used the words quieted down, but that was still smack dab in the middle of the list of crimes.
で、連中ですね。
See, after that they...
現場への直接攻撃が難しくなったとしたら、今度は個人攻撃に切り替えました。
After they found that attacking the site had become difficult, they started resorting to personal attacks. Hello, penitent actor. Sorry. I have trouble reading longer names. Welcome, how are you? Hope you're doing good.
最初に狙われたのが工事事務所の現場作業者でした。
The first people targeted were the construction workers. After that, there was silence. What was being described to me was a guerrilla war fought in the jungle. Threats and violence against the workers. Harsh words and harsher rocks were thrown.
かなりの告訴がされているのに、逮捕者があまり出ていませんね。
I can't even read my own name properly. I can't even read anything properly, so excuse me. It's Penny. I'm sorry. Yeah, that would have been a lot easier. Hello, Penny. Hope you're doing good. I can't read. There's quite a list of accusations here, but there's not a whole lot of convictions. I mean, I would assume that they work together as a group, so it would be difficult to convict singular people. I'm guessing they just kind of acted as a whole group. I bet all personnel are not allowed to go outside of the construction site. They also won't get food from the town, so they'll have to get stuff from a different source. Yeah, and that's gonna be really difficult. I mean, they're really just you know, the Onigafuchi guardians are really just getting their way here. Does it feel like a year? I haven't even been streaming for a year, so it can't even be a year.
そりゃそうです。
Of course not.
第一、目撃者なんかいないんですから。
First of all, there's no witnesses.
それどころか、現行犯だったにしたって、アリバイがポンポンポンとできちゃうんです。
On top of that, even if we identify the perpetrators, they have alibis coming out of the woodwork. Hmm?
それはどういうことですか？
What do you mean by that?
例えばですね、あなたがひなみ沢で歩いていて、
Take for example, you're walking around
あ
Hinamizawa.
る男にナイフで刺されたとします。
When a certain man stabs you with a knife, what does that mean?
あなたは相手をよく覚えていて、名前も住所も特定できてるとします。
You remember the person clearly and even know his name and address.
ただし、ナイフには指紋がなく、物的証拠だけがない。
However, the knife doesn't have any fingerprints on it and there's no other physical evidence.
まあ、ありがちな傷害事件だと思うでしょ。
Well, you'd think this would be a run-of-the-mill case of assault, wouldn't you?
でも、ひなみ沢じゃ完全犯罪なんです。
It's been 2 months indeed. Time has been going fast. The whole town is in on it, then the normal rules don't apply. Yep. Because it's difficult to convict a whole town. And I guess, yeah, here he's also explaining, like, it's the perfect crime. Like, you cannot be linked to this. You can just stab someone as long as you don't leave any evidence. Who are, like, how are they going to convict you, right? In Hinamizawa, though, it's a perfect crime. Everybody is, the entire village, they're all in on it. Yep. To protect the man who was the perpetrator, they'll get their story straight and prepare an alibi. To that end, they'll probably even forge some evidence. I mean, why wouldn't they?
裁判にもつれ込ますほかないわけですが、
Which is even more odd, because if you consider that they have acted as a whole town this entire time, then why did singular people confess to the crime of cutting up that guy? That's gonna be interesting. Because why were they acting as unity and then suddenly decided to throw 5 people under the bus? How did the town just start killing? I mean, I feel like some of these people probably don't have anything else in their lives. If they had to give up everything and leave Hinamizawa, they would lose purpose in their life. They are obviously very hung up on their hometown. They don't want to leave their hometown. They don't want to lose their hometown due to some stupid dam project. So they want to do everything they can to stop it. I mean, aside from that, you know, there's the rumors of them just being demons and eating people in general. So I guess there's also that. Hello, Gio. Hello, welcome in. How are you? Hope you're doing good. If I remember correctly, someone was really reluctant to participate, and after they had the pieces, the pressure got to them and they confessed. Not everyone in the group wanted to do this. I guess I still have the old image in my head from where we have seen the cult actions before, where they were pretty much ruthless. They would just, you know, kill people with no regard for anyone's safety. But that was also kind of under the influence of the curse / possession. So I guess you're right. Or it's a similar case as it was with Satoshi, maybe? Where he committed the crime, but someone else was forced to confess. Someone who was, I don't think they were even from Hinamizawa. So I'm not sure if the people who got convicted were actually also from Hinamizawa. I guess they were? Oh, this is... I'm trying to remember all the information that's been like a while ago. Can we get a recap real quick? I need my notebook, please. Oh, you went back to get some more context. Okay. So you have a way better memory than I do. I have to go back and read it. I feel like the tips will probably give me a little bit of a recap, so maybe that's gonna be a little better. Ankle sock? I've never had those. Oh boy. Well, Yashiro-sama also has to wash his socks, you know? So, there you go. There's nothing they can do but put them on trial.
何しろ物的証拠はない上、犯人を隠匿する証言だけは後から増えていく。
On top of there not being any material evidence, though, people testify one after another to cover his side of the story.
検察も書類送検には二の足を踏むわけです。
Any prosecutor would hesitate to file charges.
殺人ならいざ知らず、投石で額を切った、殴られてあざができた程度だと、仮に犯人を特定できたとしても、嫌疑不十分で送検されないことがほとんどです。
I'm not sure about murder, but if it's something like opening a gash on somebody's forehead with a thrown rock, or leaving a bruise after hitting someone, even if you could single out the suspect, there is enough reasonable doubt not to convict. Every case is without a doubt perpetrated by someone in Hinamizawa, but they can't identify who. Even if they could figure out who it is, they're unable to obtain enough circumstantial evidence through due process. This is, I guess, similar-ish to what happened. Okay, I'm trying to think here. My thoughts might not make a lot of sense, but this is kind of similar to what happened to Keiichi last chapter, right? I mean, we don't know if the uncle truly appeared again, or if it was Satoko going, or, you know, being a little crazy. So if he did kill him, and the body just vanished into thin air, nobody could have convicted him. Even like, he confessed the whole crime, and they weren't able to do anything. Because the body just magically disappeared. He was somehow, I don't know, I feel like the people, which is why I said, like, I don't think Elena and Mion had necessarily bad intentions when they were trying to, you know, get him to go to the dig site. I think they were trying to protect him. But they can't do anything in the normal process system because everyone works together. Exactly, yeah. The plot thickens. I don't know if I'm cooking with my thoughts. Probably not, but it's the best I can do. Keiji was protected due to Mion and her high standing in the village. Her family had direct ties to the stopping of the dam project. I mean... Okay, so we know for sure that Satoshi was protected by someone. Because someone made this random dude that was under the influence of drugs confess to a crime he didn't commit. So let's assume that Keiichi was actually transported to a different world after, you know, he was pushed off the bridge. Or not even then. Way before that, after he killed her uncle. Because of the whole thing with his body disappearing and everything being extremely weird. What if he was indeed transported, like he said, to a different world or like timeline? Because the beginning of this chapter with the whole time thingy in the chapter name, it makes me think that maybe this is really a case of like timelines. Not necessarily time travel, but timelines. Different timelines that are all happening at the same time, with only slight changes in the characters' behaviors and actions that they take with different results. So I don't know where I'm going with this, but those are some of my thoughts, that maybe this is all somehow connected. I feel like I was going somewhere, but I kind of lost my train of thought while speaking way too fast. I hope you get what I was going for, kind of. So yeah, they definitely helped out Satoshi. Maybe also helped out Keiichi. Though, I guess by ending the world... or not the world, I guess, just Hinamizawa. I don't know if that was much protecting him. What if Oyashiro-sama... If it's Oyashiro-sama actually protecting Keiichi? I don't know about that. I mean, the whole village died. About that as well? Like Haruhi, I haven't watched it. I'm sorry. If you get the same patterns this chapter, it's even weirder because we're far in the past. Ooh, yeah, you're right. It would be really interesting. I guess we'll see. But we'll see after the ad break because there's gonna be one in a minute. So let's take it very quickly now. Oh my god, it's already been 3.5 hours. That is insane. I guess I should really stop yapping for an entire hour. I should really stop doing that, huh? Oh well, we'll try. We'll try to not yap as much in the following streams. But okay, let me quickly take a break. If you also need to rest your eyes, stretch your legs, get a drink, get a snack, feel free to do that. I haven't watched Haruhi 2. Yeah. I've been meaning to, but I haven't gotten around to it. With these theories, and the author's gonna be like, I don't know, I was... I'm probably like way off. Like I usually tend to be way off because I take everything at face value and I make up these crazy theories in my head that make like no sense. But they make sense in my head, and you know, I tend to be very wrong usually. Which I know that some people would be like, oh, that's like really disappointing and stuff, but for me it's even more fun because I'm like, wow, I was so wrong and I misinterpreted everything so much. It's kind of funny to see afterwards how wrong I really was. The intro had a ton of scenes at shadow events that the girls in Keiichi went through, at least some of them. Yeah, like, the one that stood out the most to me was that random girl, which I assume will be the kid of Akasaka, since it would make sense. Doing the same pose, being replaced with Erika, possibly a couple of years later. We don't know. That one was the one that stood out the most to me for some reason. Yapping is the best part of Higurashi. I'm glad you think so. I'm glad you think so. I like the yapping. I like it. I like it. Just a theory. A spooky theory. Also a game theory. Also, hello Tsumaki. How are you doing? Probably not so good considering your account got hacked. I hope you can resolve that. Okay, but the ads are literally about to happen right now. Like right now. See, I'm gonna stretch a bit. I'm gonna be right back. I promise, I promise. Also, let me fish. Okay. Stretching time! Okay, I am back. I'm now sitting again. Oh my god, stretching feels so good. You should stretch more often, guys. It feels really good. Can you believe it? Well, I'm gonna stretch some more while I read chat because it's really, really good. I wonder how our officer will get out of Dodge. Right, because I was like, oh, he's probably gonna be in danger a lot. But clearly he survives 7 years later. I feel like the name Akasaka seemed familiar to me, as though I have read it before. Maybe I'm going crazy, but was he relevant in the other chapters? Did he show up? I'm not sure anymore. Maybe he didn't. The story was made to be yapped about. That's why I'm so obsessed with it. I'm glad. Yeah, I like yapping about it. I know that I can yap a lot sometimes, but I really enjoy it, and I'm glad when people also enjoy it. Doing great. I already got onto my alt account. Okay, well, I still hope you can get your main account back. I hope you're not using the same credentials for other services. I wish it wasn't so cold so I could go outside and exercise. I highly recommend Ring Fit Adventure or something equal to that, or just any kind of home exercise that you want to do. I just particularly really liked Ring Fit Adventure because of the gamification and how easy that made it to come back every day. The worst part is starting. The worst part is starting. He's going back to Hinamizawa where Oishi is in the present, right? Yeah. That being the case, maybe he will ultimately meet an untimely end in the present. Could be it, yeah. I'm kind of curious as to... I was wondering if we were still gonna be playing as Keiichi, for example. But since we already got the POV from Akasaka in the present, I guess we're not going to? Which wouldn't be so bad. I'm just curious how they're gonna structure this. Only one way to find out. I don't have space. Oh, I see. My boyfriend and I are renting one room. Oh, that makes it very difficult. Yeah, I get it. Is there like a gym near you? That could work, right? A little expensive, but to a whole different friend group. Maybe some younger versions of the adults will be here too. Oh, that would be so cool, actually. I mean, during this time, wait, how many years ago is this? This is 1978? Yeah. Yeah. 1978, I think. I'm not so sure anymore. I'm not 100% sure. I think it is. Which means that some of the kids might be here. I think they mentioned that Mion got into some altercations when she was young about the dam project, so I would assume that we might see them as kids, you know? Maybe. Just gonna wait for it to warm up. Yeah, I hope it warms up quickly then so we can get some exercise in. Very important. Don't be like me. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay. Oh, let me drink something real quick. Yeah, 7 years basically. Mion was on the front lines of this conflict when she's like 10, I think. Yeah, she was so young and she was like beating them all up. The cops were beefing with a 5th grade. It's insane, kind of. Poor girl, I think she really enjoyed it. She seemed very proud of it, so I guess she was having fun. Okay, let's keep going. Even if they could figure out who it is, they're unable to obtain enough circumstantial evidence through due process. The villagers were all extremely well informed about this, and so the malicious, vicious, and tenacious personal attacks continued.
被害者はそれでは納得できないでしょう。
The victims can't have been okay with that, right?
検察審査会に再審請求を出さないのですか？
Couldn't they have filed for an appeal?
それはですね、審査員たちがみんな厄介ごとに巻き込まれたくないと思っているからですよ。
Well, you see, about that, everybody on the inquest committee didn't want to get involved with something so troublesome.
ひなみ沢関係のトラブルには首を突っ込みたがらないんです。
They won't stick their noses into anything related to Hinamizawa. Of course they wouldn't. I'm not surprised now that they sent Akasaka here. They probably don't want... Wait, is his name Akasaka? Yeah. That they don't want anything to do with this. The inquest committee is comprised of a random selection of local residents. In the event the prosecutor fails to get a conviction, they have the power to order a retrieval. No, retrieval? Retrial. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. It's a system designed to assert the will of the people on the actions of expert prosecutors in the legal world. In this case, however, being composed of local residents has backfired.
首を突っ込みたがらない。
They don't want to get involved?
それはなぜです？
Why is that? Hmm?
なんて説明すればいいんでしょう。
How do I explain this?
恐れられているって言えばいいのかな。
You could say they're afraid?
あそこはね、少し特殊なんです。
Since it's a little special there.
特殊？
Special?
何か政治的なバックボーンが存在するということですか？
Is it an outcast community?
いえ、そういうのとは少し違うというか。
No, it's a little different from that.
まあ怖がられていると思ってください。
Well, just think of it as them being afraid. What? That is not precise at all. Like, huh? That's worded in a very ominous way, kind of. The PD in Tokyo send Akasaka over in good faith. Maybe they think he's capable enough, or there's a more insidious reason. Maybe they do think he's capable enough, and which is why they're sending in Oishi as support. I mean, he isn't here yet, so maybe they'll call him in after an incident? We'll see.
この辺りは口では少し説明しにくいんです。
It's a little hard to explain it just now. Well, you didn't even try.
ああ、そうだ。わかりやすいのがありました。
Oh, right. There's an easier way. Wiping his forehead with a handkerchief, he opened a file labeled as a list of members of the Onigafuchi Guardians.
鬼ヶ淵死守同盟の勢力にはですね。
Ah, because it's composed of the three major families? The power of the Onigafuchi Guardians, you
近
see,
隣の町々に強い影響力を持つ人間が多々おりまして。
is the fact that they count as many people among their members who are influential in neighboring areas, like the Sonozaki family, for
この
example.
辺をご覧いただけますか。
Could you take a look at this? I looked. What I saw startled me. Prefectural and municipal assembly members, staff members of the Chamber of Commerce, and an executive of a business association, an executive of a town council association, and a PTA liaison. They were more than a few people with a lot of say both locally and in the neighboring regions. Yeah, there's some big shop people in here. Not only Hinamizawa, but other towns. Yep. They're all involved in this. So they're, yeah, okay. I guess I understand why they would be afraid. But still, like, they can't just do nothing.
この界隈では、ひなみ沢のダム反対運動は皆静観しているのが普通なんです。
Around here, you could pretty much expect your actions to be observed by those against the dam project.
ダムを肯定するような発言をすると、どこでどう巡って不利益を被るかわからない。
They're probably a way smaller group, so they can't really do anything against the whole village of Hinamizawa. If you said something in its support, who knows how it would work out in your disadvantage.
何しろ近隣の町の喉元はひなみ沢出身の人間が抑えていますからね。
In any case, every town in this area is being held by the throat by someone from Hinamizawa.
検察審査員のリストは非公開でしょ
The list of Inquisition Committee members is undisclosed, isn't it?
報復がされないように何らかの措置が取られているはずでは
There has to be some measures in place to make sure they avoid retribution, no?
一応非公開でプライバシーは守られてますがね。
Well, it is undisclosed, so the privacy is assured, but...
それを管理してるのは沖宮市役所の人間。
The person in charge of that is from the Okinomiya Municipal
つ
Office.
まり地元の人間なんです。
In other words, so local.
守秘義務があるとはいえ、やはり人間のつながりは分かりませんからね。
Well, you might expect some professional confidentiality. You can't know how everybody is connected.
ひなみ沢の人間はそのあたりのつながりがことのほか強固ですから。
The people from Hinamizawa have a lot of tight bonds in that regard. Yeah, you don't want to mess with the wrong person. They could rat you out and then, there you go. He has to pretend that he's not related to working with people in support. If they get a hint, he'll be in a lot of trouble. When you consider the obligations and duties people have to the region, the web of information thereby formed is nothing to scoff at. It's not uncommon for housewives in a neighborhood to know which kid from which house is what grade in which school, what subjects they're good at, and what vegetables they hate, among other things. I mean, it's generally already, because of it being so remote and so small, a very tight-knit community. So, yeah.
それにほら、ひなみ沢と
And
知
that's
縁の深い暴力団組織がありましてね。
You see, there's a Yakuza organization here with strong ties to Hinamizawa and the surrounding area.
これが今回の騒動に全面バックアップしてるらしいんです。
It would seem that they're providing full support in these recent incidents.
こちらが出てくるのが一番効いてるみたいですね。
They seem to be proving most effective.
暴力団
Gangsters.
ダムの建設反対で住民と一致
Siding together with the residents opposed to the construction of the dam? I mean, the gangsters, so-called gangsters, live in Hinamizawa, literally. It's a small town, and experiencing a small town in France, like a very small town, you know basically everyone. Like, I live in a small town, and the reason I don't know anyone is because I never leave my house. But you do see the same faces over and over again, and I'm sure if I would go outside enough, I would know a lot more if I was just a little bit more involved. If you say one thing to one person, other people might know about it not long after. Oh yeah, especially like I work in a very relatively small town too, and a lot of my coworkers live in said town. So whenever something happens, they talk about it, and of course a lot of people in the overall company are also from the same town, so you learn about a lot of people just by sitting in a room and just listening to people talk to other people's private lives. Pay just more attention to patterns, you'll easily find out routines and the like. It's not something I do, but that makes sense. I mean, yeah, you, especially like you have your routines and you will meet people with like similar routines, doing certain things, of course. So yeah, you'll just naturally grow to know what people do around you generally, and like yeah, you'll just know. Why does it sometimes open up the log when I scroll down? That doesn't make sense.
どういう利害が一致するのか読みがたいですね
It's a little hard to see what their common interest is.
それは難しいことじゃないです。
It's not that difficult at all.
実はですね、この暴力団の組長がですね、ひなみ沢村の出身なんです。
You see, actually, one of the lieutenants in that gang is originally from Hinamizawa.
村の重鎮の一人の婿養子にあたりまして、
He was adopted into a rather influential family in the village. Exactly what was this Hinamizawa? A lovely place. I had thought it was just some desolate rustic village. However, for some reason, they exerted a strong influence on the surrounding areas and had a strong sense of unity. They would protect their village by any means necessary, even if that meant resorting to violence. The chief had said that they were afraid because there were numerous influential people living there. but somehow I got the feeling that they were afraid of the village itself. There was something clearly different from what I had read in the documents in Tokyo. This was no simple residential protest against the dam. For some reason, an uneasy feeling began to nestle itself at the back of my mind. I chose the most basic way to ask my question. In other words, I directly asked what I wanted to know.
室長、
I mean, that's the smart way, right? You don't want to create misunderstandings. Funny how the governing bodies are like, stop protecting your livelihoods, porty. He's like, yeah, what is this? It's crazy how, I mean, okay, don't get me wrong. Resorting to violence over something like this is obviously not the answer. Kidnapping kids, hurting people, killing and dismembering people, not okay, obviously. But neither is ruining an entire village's livelihood, people's lives, traditions, families. Everything is gonna be destroyed because of this project. So I find it difficult to paint one or the other group as a villain because this is just an overall shitty situation. So it's not that the group is crazy or the people, you know, leading the dam project are crazy. It's just a shitty situation where people with different beliefs just kind of, you know, meet each other, and it doesn't end well. To your wish list, are you sure you can handle Visage? From what I remember, it's one of the scariest games. Probably not. If it's on there, it's because someone recommended it to me. It doesn't mean that I necessarily looked at it. Sometimes I have added some of them to my wish list already. But I remember, I think I looked that one up, and I might have added it to my like Excel, not Excel, Google spreadsheet thingy. And I think I had like a comment saying, do I really want to play this? This looks horrifying. But also thank you for the stretch and hydrate. Chief,
これは例えば仮の話ですが、
this is just a hypothetical situation, but...
はい。
Huh?
例えばその鬼ヶ淵主導名が
This Onigafuchi Guardians,
ダム計画を頓挫させるため
in order to halt the dam
要
project,
人を脅迫するようなことは考えられますか？
do you think they could, say, threaten somebody important to accomplish that? The chief replied immediately.
ありえるでしょう。
It's possible.
事実、彼らは市役所や県庁、建設省の工事事務所にも押しかけ、恫喝まがいのことをしていますし。
Truth be told, they've already gone to municipal and prefectural offices, as well as local offices of the Ministry of Construction, and done things that could be construed as intimidation.
工事関係者の家族が不審者につけ回されたという事件も起こっています。
Several of the workers' families have also reported that they're being followed around by some suspicious people. Well, that would make sense. To halt progress on the dam, they raided the construction site, destroying heavy machinery and lighting the construction office on fire. If they didn't have any qualms about doing that, threats and violence against people related to the dam would probably be no problem. But that was it. Even when your everyday hoodlum could use threats and violence. However, this time it was the kidnapping of the minister's grandson, an abnormally high-level crime. I mean, yeah, like hurting people, I guess, is one thing, but hurting a kid and keeping a kid from its family is a whole different beast. Just making sure you know what you sign up for. Oh, don't worry. If I play horror games, I make sure to look them up first if I can handle them. Not only was pulling off the kidnapping difficult in the first place, but so was maneuvering to have the ministers surrender to their demands immediately. There was no way this was the work of amateurs. Did these people have the power to enact this large of a crime? That was the heart of the matter. Was the Onigafuchi Guardians an organization capable of pulling this off? In order to ask that question, once again, I chose the most basic method.
例えば政府要人の関係者を誘拐して脅迫なんてことがあり得ると思いますか？
Do they not know what he's here for? They have prepared all of this. Do they not know what he's here to investigate? I mean, they said that this was pretty secretive and they don't want anyone to know that doesn't have to know. But I figured they'd at least let these people working here know because well, they would need to know what he's investigating to provide the necessary information, duh. Again, hypothetically, do you think they could kidnap a relative of someone of political importance? There's no way they could pull off something that big. That was the answer I most hoped for. If it was that answer, my work was as good as halfway done. I might be able to get back in time for my wife to give birth. He just wants out of here, understandably so. That was how it was supposed to be. Oh. The chief, without a hint of hesitation, replied,
やるかもしれません。
They just might. They probably did.
そこの知れない連中ですから。
There's no telling how far they'd go. This music, whenever it hits, or the sound effect rather, always gives me chills. I don't know how they did it. They mean serious business and it's truly awful, but in real life, it takes shit like this to send a message to the higher-ups to halt their bullshit. I don't condone it, but it's sort of a logical step if it's really bad. It's obvious that democracy from both sides isn't accepted. I get what you mean, but I don't know. I feel like this is really difficult to to talk about because clearly this is a shitty thing. And if people won't listen, you will resort to any kind of measures that you can. But doing this is horrible. You're not only hurting this person or, getting them to do what you want them to do, you're actually hurting a kid. They kidnapped a kid, and who knows what they're doing to this kid. So, I don't know. I guess I can understand why they would, but also there is so many other things that you can do that don't involve this. Music string is really haunting. It is. If I hear that music string in the middle of the night, I would be really scared. I mean, it always just sends like a chill down my spine, but yeah, it's a pretty good track. Rihanna explained that the peaceful actions didn't have any impact. Yeah. It's a tough situation. I mean, I'm lucky this is this is fictional. I guess it's all good, but it's just really difficult. I wouldn't know what else to do either, but still, I don't think I could ever resort to something like this, you know? Yeah, difficult stuff. I don't know what else I would try to do before I would ever resort to this, and if at some point I would just accept my fate. If there was like a limit to how far I would go, I feel like this would be this would be the limit. Seems like towns going away because of dams have happened in the past. Yeah, of course. This is not something like the overall story isn't fictional. With the dam project and everything. That's something that happens all the time. People just getting their homes ripped away because people wanna build something like a dam or whatever it is that they want to do there. It doesn't have to be a dam specifically, it can be other things. Where people's homes get bought off and they just get booted from their hometown for stuff to be built there and whatever. So that is very much real, which makes this very difficult because I feel like at some point people would just accept and move on. I don't think people would necessarily go to these lengths, obviously. Like, this is a bit much. Maybe there are some people that would, but the vast majority of people I think would just be like, okay, you give me some settlement money, and it's all good. That town has knives for hands and saws for teeth. It has literal demons living here, so yeah. I read sorry spooky for a second. I was like, oh my god. Sorry, Yuki. It seemed like my work wouldn't end so simply after all. Oh, the
お
phone
う赤
ringing.
坂君か
It's always so awful to hear. 1,000+ piece puzzle? I haven't done a puzzle in a long time. They know. They know the fourth wall breaking. Oh no. They're on to us. Oh, Akasaka-kun.
ご苦労さん
Good work.
担当地域での情報収集はどうですか
How's the information gathering at your assigned region?
順調です。
It's coming along.
これから現地警察の公安と接触できることになりましたので、現地へ向かう予定です。
It seems I'll be able to meet with their local public safety department, so I'm planning on heading out that way.
東京の調査の方はどうですか？
How's the investigation in Tokyo going?
他の職員も順調に調査を進めているよ
The others are progressing along, but
でも調べる団体が星の数だからね
the number of groups we have to investigate are countless.
そんなに悠長に時間もかけられないし
Time isn't really a luxury here. There were no new developments at this time. No matter how suspicious the Onigafuchi Guardians was, if they solved the case in Tokyo, my job was done. It looked like my wishful thinking wouldn't come to pass. Yep, unfortunately, you're just stuck here. He's going to be trailed from the get-go. I wouldn't be surprised, yeah. Hanging up the phone, I let my gaze drift outside the window to the valley of unfamiliar buildings.
赤坂さん、今お貸しできる車が戻ってきました。
A car you can borrow just
ご
returned.
案内しますので、こちらへどうぞ。
I'll take you to it, so follow me.
すみません。
Thank you. He showed me to the elevator to the ground parking lot where a battered sedan was waiting for me. That the steering wheel kept drifting to the left was a little concerning, but it would be enough to get me around for a while. Yeah, that is a little concerning. My destination was Shishibona City, XX Prefecture. I just remembered something that I wanted to talk about. I'll write it down for tomorrow so I don't forget spaghetti. Very interesting stuff. I think we can all agree what I want to talk about tomorrow is quite interesting. How do I write this down? That's the most basic stuff I could have written down as a note, but there we go. New officer not from town going into town and confronting parties that are against the dam project is like poking the bear, but the bear is awake and has cubs. My destination was Shishibona City XX Prefecture, an area under the control of the Onigafuchi Guardians. The Okinomiya police station was right on the front lines. Is that it? Is that the chapter? It is not. But it is, it's almost 4 hours into the stream. So I think I'm actually gonna end it right here. I'm probably not gonna get to the end of the chapter anyway, since there's also... I think we also had to end in the middle of the first chapter for the last arc. Yeah. Yeah, the after party took a chunk, and me yapping for an hour took a chunk, so yeah, it took a bit out. But I will make sure to finish this chapter, and hopefully also finish chapter number 2, so we can end each stream on one chapter again. Right? Because that makes sense. That makes the most sense because they usually tend to be like one stream long. So I think that would be quite nice if we can get back to the rhythm. So I will try my best. to do both tomorrow. We're playing Higurashi tomorrow, right? Just confirm. I'm actually not sure. I think my schedule said that. Yeah? Yeah. We play it twice a week. Okay. Okay. So let me save. Please, yes. More Higurashi. I'm so glad that you guys are enjoying it. You know, usually people, I don't think they like visual novels on Twitch because, you know, it's boring or whatever, but I love it. I really like it. And even if you guys didn't enjoy it, I'd still be streaming it, but I'm glad. It makes me very happy to see that people are very invested in the story with me. It's very, very lovely to see. Screw the schedule. Who cares about the schedule? Throw it out the window. We will play Higurashi. Higurashi is so engaging, it makes up for it. It does. I really didn't think it was going to be this engaging for me. I feel like it started off slow. Like the first one was good, but since I remembered a lot of it from the anime, I was like, okay, yeah, I see. It's good. But with the Watanagashi chapters where it really took off for me, I was like, wow, this is incredible. This is so good. This is so good. But yeah, I'm really, really glad you guys enjoy it. The writer really enables you to figure things out and thinking about events. Yes, I agree. It's really, really nice. There's so many questions. I usually don't enjoy games that just pop thousands of questions into your head and they're like, oh yeah, let's confuse the player like crazy. But I feel like in the case of Higurashi, it's really well done. So yeah, I really enjoy it. It's super, super nice, and I don't mind not having all the pieces of the puzzle because I know we'll have the answer arcs and I'm so excited for them. But also this one is super exciting. I'm a little sad that I'm this tired and I can't really keep going anymore. But tomorrow I will make sure to rest up well and we will power through so we can get through the second chapter. We will power through. We will have the power. Thank you for the stream, Spooky. Thank you for being here, Tsubaki. Higurashi was pretty smart writing. They keep telling you more answers, but give you more questions. Yeah, I agree. Because Higurashi's mystery isn't just for mystery's sake. It's got more substance. Yes, that too. It's not just mysteries and stuff. It's... The characters are also so incredibly well written. I don't know what to say. I just love each and every character. Of course, there's characters like Idia, which are just like, ugh. But even he is like relatively well written for, you know, him being a kind of disgusting creep. But yeah, the characters are so interesting. The environment is so perfectly described to me. It's just lovely. And the political aspects of it make it really surprising. I didn't expect it, but it's so good. It adds so much to it. Yes, I'm wrapping up the stream. I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm very tired. As I said, I almost passed out after work. It took all of my strength to stay awake and not pass out into sleep. So yeah, I will walk the doggo. I will rest up well, and then I will be back with more strength tomorrow. Really, you can suss out things even in chapter 1, but I think you would need to presume a lot of things. Yeah, I'm not good at that kind of stuff. Even if they tell me some, like, I noticed this while playing Omori again. I played Omori a couple of years ago, and I didn't get the story at all when I finished it. I was like, huh? Because they tell you one thing and then they completely spin it on you in the end. That's the best I can describe it without spoiling too much. And I just didn't grasp it. I was like, but they told me another thing, and now I'm like, huh? That's not what happened. That's not what they told me happened. So I was really confused. I'm not good, even if you tell me what's going on. And in Omori, the second playthrough, I'm noticing, wow, there's a lot of hints to what is actually going on and what the story is all about. And I am just now realizing, knowing the story. Of course, it's also intended to be that way, but I'm also just really bad. Good to rewatch and play. There's always something new to find. Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to watching the anime, even if it's like slightly different. I really am looking forward to it. Especially the newer seasons too. Person needs to cook pretty hard to suss things out in chapter 1. Yeah, I have no idea how you would even do that, but yeah. Yeah. All good stuff. I'm pretty sure people like Taro could do it because Taro just has this magical ability to figure out things so easily. She has the brain cells. I do not. So I'm really excited every time she streams Higurashi too because I'm like, oh, interesting thoughts. I agree. Yes, I didn't think of this at all. I could say something about Go Sotsu, but I'll let you rest. I mean, feel free to bring it up tomorrow as long as it doesn't contain spoilers. Subtext is hard to understand at first. Since with games, especially, you take things at first hand. Yeah. I, by nature, do that as well. For whatever reason, you tell me something and I will believe it. And I will not change my mind unless you tell me otherwise. Like, even if other things are implied, I usually don't get it. I'm very dense in that regard sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. And in games especially, I do that a lot. And games also tend to do that on purpose. But yeah. That essentially that. So, if I'm not good at figuring out things, I apologize, but it's kind of fun for me being bad at this because it makes it all the more shocking to me when things are revealed and I'm like, wow, my peanut brain didn't get it was leading up to this. Okay, but let me see who we can raid today. Let me see. Da, da, da. We have Lazy Moop is streaming Kirby Canvas Curse. Since we were talking about like older games and like retro games and stuff, yeah, I feel like that could be fun to join in on since I think it's an old DS game, right? I know people here love Kirby, so let's say hello to Moop. As long as it's not being intentionally bad, you're doing your best. So am I. Yep. We're doing our best. Yes, I played a bit of it recently. Well, then you'll enjoy watching her play it then. I think it's gonna be fun. I haven't played this game, I don't think. I'm kind of mesmerized just watching her play. Okay, let's say hello to Moop. Let me copy my own raid message and send you guys off. Thank you so much for joining me today. I had lots of fun as always. I really look forward to tomorrow. I cannot wait to finish this chapter and this second one because I feel like we're gonna move at a slightly faster pace than we're used to. It's already starting off really interesting, especially with a different character and everything. Okay, I hope everyone has a lovely rest of their night. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye!